So today we are having a conversation about PSYCH-K with Brunhild Hofmann, who is a PSYCH-K certified instructor since 2007. And before getting into the PSYCH-K world, Brunhild holding a diploma in biology, and she was a business consultant for many, many years, doing sports, so lots of things before entering the world of PSYCH-K. And we met last year.
Yes,
And
and thank you for inviting me, Christina, for this interview and also for the workshop in Lisbon. And it's really so that I would not say that I found PSYCH-K because I would say PSYCH-K found me. Because when PSYCH-K found me, I was a very scientific person, and because I studied biology. And when I participated in the PSYCH-K BASIC workshop, I went out and thought, oh, this is voodoo. I didn't, because at that time I didn't believe in a kind of a spiritual world or other dimension, let's say. And it was really by accident that because of a friend who asked me to visit this workshop with him. And so I found what I did now for nearly 20 years, what I do now for nearly 20 years, and this is the longest time in my life I did something. I did the same thing because it's so rewarding, and I saw so many shifts, and especially in my life, it was so, it shifted so much. Perhaps I can just at the beginning tell something. So the most rewarding shift was that I could change the relationship to my mother. And this is what happened in the advanced workshop when I did a balance in surrogation for my mother. And my mother was a very hard person because she had very strong experience, very hard experiences in the Second World War. And she never, for example, she never hugged us kids and things like that. And when I did this balance in surrogation for her, it's called core belief balance, where we really go deep into the energy of a person and change restricting and limiting beliefs. After this balance, she changed totally, and my mother and I had really a close relationship and a gentle time together. And she died 2 years after this experience, and I'm so grateful to have had the best time in my life with my mother in these 2 years. And this is why I started to become PSYCH-K instructor, because I thought, this I want to bring to the world.
that is big.
Yeah, it was big. And I nearly get tears when I remember it. Yeah.
And can we share for the people who don't know what is a surrogation? What is a
Surrogation means that you learn, and it's not in the basic workshop, but when you go further with PSYCH-K and step into the advanced, and then you learn that when it's allowed by the higher self of the other person and your higher self to balance the change processes are balances, you can balance for another person, but only if it's allowed from a higher perspective, let's say. And this of course opens a lot of possibilities. Yeah, so you can not only work for persons, you also can work for humanity or for the consciousness, or for one day I did a balance for all German parents. So for concepts also, like you know it from constellations, that you can, for example, do a constellation with a concept, let's say. and not only with the person, but both is really rewarding, highly rewarding, and highly effectful. Yeah.
I can imagine. And how do we guide through partners during the sessions? Just let's introduce a little bit to our viewers what they can expect when they come to the basic workshop, also what they learn how to guide through others and also themselves when they work with PSYCH-K.
So when you come to the basic workshop, one of the balances I mostly use in my life is the transformation of perception of stress. I nearly do it every day when I feel the situation needs this situation. I'm not in my full power, but I need power to stand the situation. Or alone when I think I'm not in my I don't feel joy, but I have a feeling of standing a situation. Yeah, then I do the stress transformation, and it can be very little small things to do this, and it can also be really have really huge results and also huge reasons. Yeah, and this is what you learn in the PSYCH-K workshop, and I think kind of an underlying structure of this is that we activate our both brain halves. And when the whole brain is activated, we do it with the posture. It's called whole brain posture. And when the whole brain is activated, then you have really full potential. And the full potential means that you are not only feeling or only thinking, but that you can feel and think simultaneously. And this is one of the results when you do PSYCH-K balances, that you let's go into a situation where you are highly emotionally, then you mostly use only your right brain half, and because there is mostly sitting the emotions, and you have no access to really rational thinking because you are so emotional. Yeah. And on the other side, sometimes you really suppress your feeling and think very rational about something. And then when you shall then implement or really act for your decision, then suddenly your feelings come up and you feel that the decision was not right. A decision only based on rational facts is not the right decision. It should really be emotionally and also rationally combined. And so the thinking and feeling at the same time is very important. And this is what you do when you do what you activate when you do the balance for the perception of transforming stress. And it makes sense to do it so often. Would you like to share an experience about that?
Yes, I'm using also this balance quite often, and these are not small ones, I would say, but like when I have a situation with someone which is disturbing for me, so I have anxiety about the person or I feel hurt, that's exactly what happens, what you just said, that like I am too rational and I like my feelings, the love in me is not there, so I'm becoming more stiff and tough, that it shouldn't happen, whatever. And after I do the balance, then somehow I become more gentle and more loving toward the person and more understanding what was behind, what could have been behind the motive. So it really gives a huge release on my side, because holding rage or anger is always heavy for us, not the other person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Basically. So in this sense, it is yeah, very it's big also.
Yeah.
And also on the other hand, when it's a very overwhelming situation, like lately I have a lot of things to solve, and I am a highly emotional person in general, and doing a stress release balance really heightens my creativity. So when I have these overwhelming feelings and I do the balance, after that ideas just popping up and I know which direction to go. And I
Yeah.
have great ideas coming.
Yeah. Yeah. One very concrete, I also share something, a very concrete example. When I started with PSYCH-K, I had a lot of fear to fly, and I felt not safe in an airplane. And I had to fly a lot because also of my business consultancy. And this was one of my first balances. I enjoy flying. When I did it, I thought it will never happen. And this is also what we do in the basic workshop. We of course work with belief statements, with goal statements. It's not just this change in perception of distress, but what we also work with is with goal statements. And this was, I enjoy flying, and I do. Meanwhile, I really do. And what also is important that after having defined the goal and then implemented a subconscious belief like I enjoy flying, then we talk about action steps. We define action steps with our clients or with the participants, and the action step regarding the flying issue or theme was that I go to the shop, or that I book a ticket, that I go to the airport, and of course that I step into the airplane and fly. And the point was at that moment that I never did a longer flight, more than 3 or 4 hours, because I was so full of fear to be so long in the air. Yeah. And after this balance, I really booked spontaneously a flight to Halifax, Canada. And when I after having booked it, I thought, what have I done now? But I went to the airport and I sat in the plane, and I'm still here. And I enjoyed flying, you know. And this is very important also for PSYCH-K, that it's not only about dealing with nice affirmations or so, but it's also really about having another life after that. And it means doing other things. For example, to enjoy flying. And or for example, it's connected to that theme. I love skiing, but when I was in a huge gondola full of people going up the mountain, I felt some fear. And what is behind is that I felt to lose control. It's the same with the flying, because I haven't the plane in my hands. Yeah, so, and it's the same with the gondola. And this is what I also did with perception of transformation of distress, to change this distress. And when I stood in the gondola this year, totally full, 100 people, and I really enjoyed the view, and I thought back and thought that it's so nice to have not this distress and really enjoying life. This is important to do also these things we want to do.
Yes, and our life becomes more spacious and more open, and we are not limited by our fears and sitting in a smaller box. So we're
Yeah.
really widening and widening and widening, and it gives so much freedom,
Yeah.
the sensation of freedom and possibilities, and that is really liberating.
Yeah. And perhaps to know that we work from a kind of place, from an open place, which we call it isomatak, and it's a kind of attitude where we really hold space for the wisdom which wants to unfold. It's not so that in Psyche that we as a facilitator know where our partner should go to, but we want to kind of open a space for the development in his or her highest and best interest. And there we want to support our partner, but not lead him. He has to really lead his own, he or her, she is her or his own leader. And what is very important, has to take responsibility for herself and himself. And this is sometimes why people don't like Psyche, because they have to take responsibility for themselves. But as a facilitator, this is only what I want to. I want to have clients who take responsibility for themselves.
Yeah, it is really liberating, but it is something what we have difficulties with in general as
Yeah,
humans. So,
yeah, yeah,
what I experience with partners, that taking responsibility is really key, and it is something what we don't learn how to, or we are not taught how to. And Psyche really gives the possibility to step into our power. And
yeah,
that is why I also love Psyche, because before Psyche found me, um, I was working with a lot of other modalities to improve my life and the way I feel. And the big distinction among them was that Psyche was really liberating, in a sense that the power was in my hand.
yeah,
So, and to be honest, I remember that I didn't even read or search what was Psyche all about. It just came to me through a video of Dr. Bruce Lipton, and for lots of sessions, I didn't even know what was the scientific background.
yeah,
I just felt that it is so empowering for me, and it works.
yeah,
It was for me, it was like sitting in a spaceship before the old car, you know. The changes were so quick and big.
yeah, yeah,
Mm.
I understand. Yeah. I met Bruce. Bruce Lipton is really a friend of mine. And I met him in November personally again, and it's always such a joy to meet him. And he also he recommends Psyche because it made also such huge shifts in his life. Yeah,
Mm.
so it's really nice. So perhaps for at the end, I want to say two things which are really special for me regarding Psyche. The one thing is that I am a very grounded person, and Psyche is a very grounded method. So when you want to make a shift, you can realize that the shift happened really consciously because we work with muscle testing. And we always test a pre-state and a post-state. And so you really experience consciously that something is different. And this is the one point. And the other point is Psyche is really a spiritual method, and we ask for every change process, for every transformation, we ask for permission from the superconscious mind And you can call or name the superconsciousness as the bigger picture or your higher self or whatever you believe in. But we really are kind of humble that it's not our consciousness, but we ask for support from a bigger power, let's say. And that means that change processes, the balances, are always safe and appropriate. And if they would not be safe and appropriate, we wouldn't do that. And we would, of course, we can do something else. We would do something what is prior to the moment, in the moment. Yeah, and this is the other point which really makes me really kind of humble, and I trust totally in these processes. And I'm so grateful that I was able to learn it and to use it in my life. And I feel that there is so much peace, much more peace in my life and really in the surrounding around me, in my family, in my relationships to my kids, with my friends. I'm really glad and grateful for that. Yeah.
Now you are coming to Lisbon to teach all this
Yes, thank you
to
for
our
the
participants, and we are really super grateful and looking so much forward having you here and to learn PSYCH-K.
Thank you, Christina. Thank you for inviting me. And
Thank you
I'm
so
really,
much.
I will enjoy it. I'm really looking forward to being there, to being in Lisbon and teaching.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Thank
Thank you.
you. Thank you, Brunhild.